G'day guys, welcome. I'm alive. I wouldn't say I'm well. Far from it, in fact. First of all, thank you to all the well-wishers. When I put that post out yesterday that I was as crook as a dog, I was as crook as a dog. And when I woke up this morning, I sort of regretted putting that out yesterday, sort of not promising, but saying I'd do the preview today, because when I woke up this morning, I felt worse. And I looked at myself in the mirror and, I looked like death. I really did. And I felt like death. So I just thought, I'll give this a miss this week. Does it really matter? So I'm going to I am a little bit delirious because I am highly, and I mean highly medicated. I am popping pills. I wouldn't want to get tested. Like I am, yeah. So I haven't thought a hell of a lot about this game. I must be truthful with that. Some of my dreams over the last 48 hours have been, they've been all over the place. Just like hot and cold sweats, and just last night coughing all night, and just, yeah, it's bad. Like, this is a bad, whatever's going around at the moment, this is like as bad as I've had for a very long time. And I should have got the flu jab this year. I had the opportunity to get it. I was offered at my work, and I don't know, I was just lazy. I was probably doing one of these things, one of these previews or reviews when the nurse came out to give us teachers the injections, but I skipped that and I'm paying for it now. First week of holidays too. I mean, I've just worked my ass off for 11 weeks in a long term, a brutal term, and I was looking forward to this break. And this happens on the first fucking week of the holiday. But the messages are fantastic. I really do appreciate it. I've had to muster every ounce of courage and bravery and strength that I could find this frail body to do this preview. But there was one message that really resonated with me. Someone said, "You are soft," and that is exactly right. For fuck's sake, get over myself. I mean, Jesus, there's a lot. There's a lot of people worse, a hell of a lot worse off than me, and I'll get over this. And if we expect our players to rise above, and they've got sore bodies, and it's a long season, brutal season, and I'm sure we expect a lot from them. So I'm jumping on, and I'm going to do a quick preview of our game against the GWS Giants at NG Stadium, Sydney, on Saturday night. It's a big occasion for the Giants. I think that it's a welcome game for them. They're going to celebrate the multicultural nature of their football club and invite a lot of different ethnic groups to the game and really celebrate the west of Sydney. And they're making a big deal of it. They don't get a lot of Saturday night games. So it's a prime time game, I think, the Saturday night fixture. And playing us who are second on the ladder, there should be a reasonable crowd there. I've got a feeling, I just got this feeling, guys, that we're going to drop a game over the next couple of weeks. Either this one, I haven't even looked ahead. I know we've got the Western Bulldogs coming up shortly. It's either going to be this one or the Western Bulldogs game. That's just a feeling. It's got nothing to do with us or the fact that I don't trust us. Not at all. We are playing super football. We are consistent. We're reliable. We are a better team than the Giants. I really believe that. But this is a danger game because they are under the pump. They're under the pump. We go into it favourites, $1.61. The Giants are $2.28. They're sitting 10th, and they've got to win. They've got to win, but we've got to win as well to finish to remain and cement our spot top two. We really do. And the motivation for us should be as big. But I feel like Adam Kingsley will have this mob fired up with pressure. I'm not talking about anything untoward. I'm talking about with pressure, because their contest, like most teams when they are inconsistent, it's the contest that they've been struggling with. And this Giants team, we know, okay, when they get their going, they can be extremely dangerous because they are very skillful, highly skilled. They've got really good ball movement and really dangerous halfbacks. Lockie Midfield and Lockie Ash, the two Lockies, really provide that run and dash. And they can be dangerous. They've got some key personnel out, and we're starting to get a lot of ours back. But they've still got a good team on the park, and I just think they will bring, well, they should be bringing the heat. You would expect them to bring the heat. Whether they can maintain that for 4 quarters, because for the most part we have been able to do that. But I've said it all along, I am expecting just a slight drop off with our team between now and finals. I am. It's got to happen. I don't think we're just going to go on this magical ride of just belting teams or having big bursts of gears and goal kicking in quarters like we did against this mob in round 6. And it's funny, when we played them in round 6, they were flying. Them and the Swans were the 2 glamour teams in the competition. And us and them were sort of coming into the season with similar type expectations, relatively new coaches, and preliminary finalists, and they fell agonisingly short in their prelim, and we were really competitive in ours, and we could have played them in the grand final. We could have. So, but this season was always going to be, okay, fucking big years for both of these clubs, and we're well and truly living up to the expectations, and they're not. But this just shows you how we're polar opposites to the Giants in regards to, we are a huge club with such a massive following, but also we're a big news club. When we're shit, we're big news. When we're good, we're big news. When we're medium, we're big news. And we just, the media, they love it. They love us because we are clickbait. And if we were in that similar situation to the Giants are in now, we were 10th and they were 2nd. Fuck, could you imagine the outroar? Not just from the media, but also from us as supporters. But I don't know, it just feels like, there's been a bit of talk around the Giants and they have been disappointing, but it's almost like, who cares? Because they don't really have a supporter base, and no one wants to talk about them. No one wants to talk about them. Talk back, because that's just, the supporters don't ring in, and they don't keep the media rolling along. So in that regards, their poor season is, I wouldn't say flying under the radar, but I don't know. So internally, I don't know if that affects them. I don't know if it affects them. Like, are they feeling the pressure? Do they feel the pressure? Does this club, the Giants, feel the pressure that comes with being in this competition? I don't think they necessarily do, but it's on for them. It's on for them this weekend, because they lose this in 10th position. It's going to be tough for them to just even play finals. And who would have thought that at the start of the year, considering how well they started? And that game in round 6 when we did play them, and I was at that game, and I halfway through that second quarter, I'm thinking, they're slick. They're slick. They moved the ball really well, and they were making us, I wouldn't say they were making us look second rate, but they were like, they went into that halftime break, and they showed that the year prior that they could win on the road. So at 10 points up, and we were looking a little bit shaky, but fuck, it was probably the start of something really, that 7-goal burst in that third quarter, and we just put them to the sword, and Cripps dominated Tom Green. He just smashed him. We just had winners all over the park. Our forwards were dynamic, and since then they've been super inconsistent. But I'm expecting a massive fight. And I think we're going to have one on our hands. But I think we're up to that. But I'll repeat, I feel like we're going to drop a game. Whether it's this one or against the Western Bulldogs, not quite sure. That's just a feeling. It's not based on the fact that we are not a very, very good football team, and we should be going there with full confidence that we'll get the job done, regardless of what this mob will throw at us. Okay, let's look. What I'll do with this one, I'll just have a look at the lineups, because we'll start with the Giants, because they've brought back Cadman, the boy from Darley. He was the number 1 draft pick. What was it now? 2 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago. And he's shown some reasonable progress this year as a key forward and a pinch hit in the ruck. He's been out of the team, but he comes back in. They bring back in Peatling and Darcy Jones, who he's not a bad young player, Darcy Jones, but they've lost patience with I consider to be a really dangerous player, and that's Callum Brown. He's the type of player that can play well against us because he's that sort of mobile power hybrid forward, but he's just been super inconsistent. He kicked 5 goals in the opening round against Collingwood, and since then he's been up and down like a yo-yo. So they've lost patience. Josh Kelly's a big one, because he against us back in round 6, I think was their best player. I think he kicked 3 goals and had a lot of possessions, and he was like the cream. He was the cream. So that's a big out. Calf injury, I think it is, and it just weakens their engine, which helps. Every quality player out of a team helps your chances. So he's out as well, and let's not. And they omitted Max Gruzeski as well. Don't know a hell of a lot about Max, but the big one who's still not playing, and he's been out for a period of time now, is Sam Taylor. And it's funny, Sam Taylor hasn't played against us for the last 2 or 3 times, but they've still got a reasonable depth down back who can take on Harry and Charlie, with Jack Buckley, who's just a really honest defender. He will get Charlie, and Lee Kalia will probably get the job on Harry. And they've got some reasonable defenders, lockdown type defenders. Connor Iden's a really strong player down there. Perryman's serviceable, but their strengths are their running backs. And you look at Lockie Ash, who's come back into the team, and Lockie Whitfield has had a reasonable season. And if they're allowed the time and space, and I think this is the strength of our team over the last, I reckon, probably something that Voss implemented as soon as he brought to the club, but it's just getting better and better, is our ability to be really accountable for opposition's running defenders, the ones who really set up the play. So they don't fear me. Lockie Ash and Lockie Whitfield don't fear me. They're going to win the ball because they're very good players and have got pace and they use it well. But they don't fear me like they once would, because we have exceptional players who can lock down and be accountable. And what it's also shown over the last few weeks, that we've got players who can not only be accountable, but hit the scoreboard as well and be an offensive threat, not just be pure lockdown. So they've learnt the craft of being defensive. Now it's about making them, they're halfback flankers. After all, they're halfback flankers. Their job really, I know their job is to spread, okay, and to create run. But at the end of the day, they're defenders. So their job is to defend as well. But the problem is, if you just go in with lockdown sort of defensive forwards, if they can't hit the scoreboard and make guys like Whitfield and Lockie Ash defend, it's a little bit problematic. But Fogarty, Chincotta, if he plays that role, I see Matthew Cottrell's back into the team. I'm sure he might play a similar type role as well. So we've got some very good defensive forwards in our team. Tom Green, mentioned him. He's really the barometer. but he was taken apart by Patrick Cripps the last time these two teams played. I think that should give I'm not calling him a youngster, he's been around a while now, but he is younger than Cripps, and he's the prototype. I mean, he's similar to Patrick Cripps, similar size, plays in a similar manner, he's a good player. So you would think they will go to head-to-head. They've got the veteran Callum Ward, who's hanging around like a bad smell. Right at the back end of his career, they've brought back Isaac Cumming. Really rate him on a wing, I really do. He's only played the one game, but he's an exceptional player. But they haven't got bang for buck out of the small forwards, Toby Bedford and Brett Daniels, who were exceptional last year, have been a little bit down, particularly with the offensive forward acts. Toby Green hasn't had a great year. Certainly not an All-Australian year, and as skipper of this football team, he'd be a little bit disappointed, one, with his form, but also with the team's form. So there's a bit of pressure on there. I like their tools, I really do. I think Hogan's, he hasn't been in super form over the last probably month or so, but he is dangerous, really dangerous. If he gets going, he's a nice kick for goal. You would think Wiedering gets Hogan. Riccardi's the one. He's a good player, Jake Riccardi. He really is. He's mobile, kicks the ball well, takes a good mark. He's caused us some headaches in the past. And Cadman's the other big tool that goes down in there as well. So it's a big job, I think, for both Brody Kemp and Mitch McGovern, who will play those other tall defending roles. Because one thing's for certain, Wiedering will do a really good job on Hogan. But we need Kemp and we need McGovern to do really good jobs on Riccardi and Cadman to keep them out of the game. One thing that concerned me a little bit last week was that Kemp was playing on Kaczynski, who I don't rate at all. And Kaczynski kicked a couple of goals and took a couple of contested marks and started to look like he was starting to find some form on Brody Kemp. So it's a big game for Brody Kemp. It really is. He needs to, I think he's come along quite well, and he's sort of somewhat cemented his spot in this back line. He still needs to defend really well, but there's a question mark on that. Loving our small defenders. The run they're providing, Boyd, Sard, Newman have been exceptional. Newman's the one that's getting really high up, pressing really high up. Will they target Nick Starts? So will some teams start to target Nick Newman, just like we'll target Lockie Ash and Lockie Whitfield? It's interesting because once upon a time they used to target Adam Sard. Now they've got to take care of someone like Nick Newman, and he's become such a damaging player with his ball use. Then you have a look at their ruck division. Briggs is honest as the day is long. Cornelio, still a good player. Probably not at the peak of his power though. Finn Gallagher's the other big-bodied midfielder, really classy left footer. Dangerous, probably hasn't hit his straps this year in regards to probably going to that next step, but he is relatively young. Himmelberg, Peatling, Harvey Thomas, Darcy Jones and Toby McMullen make up their interchange bench. Himmelberg will probably play down back as well. Good player, Harry Himmelberg. The big one's Matthew Cottrell coming in and George Hewitt. That is... On the surface, it looks like pretty unlucky Georgie Hewitt. This is a guy that really did some heavy lifting for us last year when we had some serious concerns with our midfield. When we went on that run, I remember there was a game against Melbourne, guys, where we beat them late in the season and we needed to keep our season rolling. It was a big game at the G, and Hewitt his work rate, and he just was sensational in that game. And he's had a pretty bloody consistent season. But I think this is as much about balance as anything. Cottrell comes into the team. Maybe Kennedy maybe there will be a late change. Hewitt will come in for Kennedy. But if there's not, is that a statement? Kennedy is a little bit more flexible in what he can do than George Hewitt. The fact that we got Chera back into the team, does it make Hewitt's role obsolete? Do we lack some speed through the middle of the ground with Hewitt in there? So these are all the questions we can ask. Cottrell coming in, I think, is important because it just gives us another defensive mindset type player who can play on a Whitfield or play on an Ash or go to an Isaac Cumming. and just stop the orange tsunami or whatever they want to call it. Coming back after such a long layoff, and it wasn't like Matthew Cottrell was in super form before his injury, but they rate him. The Voss rates him in what he's able to do for this footy team. And it is, for the most part, it is good to see him back. And it's good to see us getting a lot more players back on the park. Just looking at that interchange bench. Is it from the interchange bench? Now, there's 5 there. Cowan, Chicotta, Cottrell, Matthew Owies, and Orazio. Fantasia. Does one of the subs come from those 5, or we can pluck a sub from? I think it's one of the subs will come from that 5. Maybe Cottrell will be the sub, or could it be Matthew Owies? Matthew Owies could be the sub. He didn't have a great game last week. I couldn't see Orazio being the sub this week, and definitely not Lockie Cowan. In fact, Lockie Cowan could even get the job on Toby Green. He's done some big jobs for us. A little bit underrated in regards to what he's been able to do for us. Could he get first crack at Toby Green? Looking at that forward line, I reckon he might. That'll be interesting. Who does Chicotta go to? Just look at the thumbnail, guys. I've got him, maybe Tom Green. I don't think he's not going to go to Tom Green, or he's probably not even going to go to Toby Green. He might. But could he go to one of Whitfield or Lockie Ash? Interesting. I just think it's wonderful that Chicotta, we guess every week. I mean, he played on 3 players last week for Richmond: Taranto, Rioli, and Flostone. So he played in every line. Okay, he was able to go and just play a role for us and then hit the scoreboard with 2 goals. Yeah, I mean, looks super. It looks super well balanced, our team. You know, TDK back in. Pitnet didn't do anything wrong. Anything wrong at all to be omitted, but TDK was in such good form before his injury. You just had to go with him. And Charlie and Harry, quieter games last week against the Tigers. You expect them not to be down for too long. I just think we will want to continue to see a variety of goal kickers. But I'm going to finish up with, guys, this. This game worries me because I expect a bit of a drop. And if you drop just slightly against the team that is under the pump, and I mean really under the pump, which is the Giants, who are capable, who are very, very capable. When you look at that team, it's got some bloody good players there. And you slightly come in to this game, and we've started games exceptionally, so that's not necessarily a problem. If we are slightly off defensively with our contest and they are on, we might be under the pump. Okay, it's simple as that. But there's no reason why we can't go to NG Stadium and have a really strong victory. Tell me what you think in the comments below. And once again, thank you for all the well wishes. I'll see you probably on Monday to do a big review of this game. Take care. See you soon.